is for kids only.
This is for kids only!
Hey kids, Petaluma Pete here, and we are in downtown Petaluma today. We are at the 5th annual tribute to American Graffiti, and the hot rods are all over the place. And the new word that we are going to learn today is fibrillate. Have you ever heard that word before? Well, come with me and let's find out what it's all about. What the heck does fibrillate mean, kids? And what does it have to do with Petaluma's tribute to the American Graffiti movie? Well, this is more than just over 400 cool cars taking over the downtown area for a day, because the most important aspect of this event is that it is a fundraiser, with money going to pay for lots of community needs, including those electric shock machines that you see on those corny hospital TV shows. You know, the ones that go, clear, boosh. The word fibrillate has to do with heart function, kids, and these electric shock machines are called defibrillators. And they actually had vintage defibrillators at the American Graffiti event still sitting in these vintage Cadillac ambulances. Or I guess that would be ambuli. And while these defibrillators look like something out of an early Star Trek episode, the theory was the same, where electric shock is applied to the person whose heart stopped to get it beating again and save a life. This event is put on by Cruising the Boulevard, Inc., kids, and so far through their Petaluma Save a Life project, they have installed 26 automated external defibrillators, AEDs, in Petaluma high schools and in police patrol cars. Today's modern defibrillators look a lot different than they did back in the days of those old vintage Cadillacs, and here, one of Petaluma's finest tells us a little bit about it.
So this is an AED, it's an automatic defibrillator, and it helps us in life-threatening situations when people need help or might be going into cardiac arrest. Heart stops.
What does it look like? So first, think of Petaluma's tribute to American Graffiti event as a community fundraiser, kids, with the side benefit of providing the coolest day of vintage car cruising in the coolest downtown area on the planet. Well, that about wraps it up, kids. But before we go, Petaluma Pete would like to introduce you to an art form that, back when he was a kid, captured the imagination of every car lover, called the hood ornament. Hood ornaments actually started out as decorated radiator caps. A lot of them had clear openings in the center where the radiator water would bubble up into it when it got hot, so the driver could see it from inside the car. These caps would be decorated every which way and painted, chromed, and even gold-plated. And as designs became more modern, they would become sleek and flat and aerodynamic looking, and here's one that has this beautiful bird perched on top of it. Birds and wings were really popular back then, and as the radiator eventually disappeared under the hood, the tradition remained, and hood ornaments became a constant source of creative design in the automobile business, kids. They became abstract sculptures of molded metal, some giving the impression they were moving at a high rate of speed, even when the car was standing still. Here's one that looks like a speeding train cutting through the countryside on tracks of chrome. This one has the number 8 on the front, to let people know how many cylinders are under the hood. And this one has a V8 on it and looks like a speeding missile, only perched on a very cool stem to set it up and away from the car. Here's another one sitting on a stem that makes you think of a 50s cartoon, or maybe flying saucers streaking across the sky. Early explorers and ocean ships were also a very popular theme back then, kids. Flipper ships were all the rage because they were huge and fast and conjured up freedom and travel. Car companies competed with one another, hiring real artists to work side by side with the automakers to come up with the works of art that would help create more desire for the vehicle on the showroom floor. Here's a really interesting idea where the hood ornament also doubles as a latch that opens the hood when you turn it to the right. Very cool. I remember looking up at this one when I was a kid. The whole world is presented here in bronze with chrome trim right smack in the middle of the hood, right over the front grille. Now here's a 40 Ford, Petaluma Pete's favorite model, with a hood ornament that stretches up from the top of the grille, around the front, along the hood, and all the way up to the windshield. And look here, kids, this hood ornament has Petaluma Pete inside it, waving at everyone. The carving on the side is sort of like a ram's horns or maybe an ocean wave, and the chrome is trimmed with red paint. Here is an elegant hood ornament that showcases a beautiful greyhound-looking dog that artfully appears to be running at full speed. And because the cars back then were such a man thing compared to today, the female form was also incorporated in a big way. Here's one with wings and a head that tapers all the way back like it's being stretched by the wind. And this young lady sits proudly like a figurehead at the bow of a sailing ship with the wind blowing through her long hair. And this one really brings it all together, with a young female dressed in flowing garments, and her arms are also like the feathered wings of a free bird, while she watches over the front of this Rolls like a guardian angel. Plastic was also huge for a while when designing the hottest hood ornaments, kids. Here we see another young lady with, instead of wings, she's got this wonderful tinted plastic fin trailing off behind her that you can actually see through. Over time, the old plastic materials would break down and start to crack from the heat of the sun and from the weather changes, making the clear turn to milky looking. Here's another example of where the plastic, while still in good shape structurally, has become faded and sort of yellow, and even has some scratches on it from years of who knows what. Colored plastic was also incorporated in the more deluxe models, like this blue or sort of purple-looking trim that starts at the front of the hood ornament and tapers off as it runs across the top, almost like rainwater would when speeding down the open road. This one has an interesting story behind it, kids, because the clear red plastic actually has an electric bulb inside that is connected to the headlamps of the car and lights up at nighttime, but the police made the owner disconnect the electric bulb because, by today's standards, you can't have red lights on the front of your car because it could be mistaken for a law enforcement vehicle. Some of these hood ornaments were missing their plastic inserts altogether, kids, but this one vintage owner made the best of it by temporarily placing one of his kids' little plastic dogs into the empty space while searching for an original replacement part. My favorite hood ornament of the day was this extra long, torpedo-looking sculpture with these little short wings that ran the entire length heading up to this clear plastic airfoil that helps to split the wind before it hits the windshield in an effort to keep the bugs from reaching the glass. It's like a windshield for a windshield. This one provided just the right amount of fibrillate to get Petaluma Pete fibrillating. Well, that about wraps it up, kids. Until next time, remember to be nice to everyone, listen to your teachers, and eat more veggies.